I've just been lucky enough to return from a holiday, out of season holiday in South Wales, hence the Welsh flags, the Red Dragon of CADW, white over green, and we managed during this time to visit Tintern Abbey, Chepstow Castle, Raglan Castle, superb, one of the three castles. We got to White Castle, as shown there. But today I'm going to be talking about Caerphilly. Caerphilly dates from the middle 1200s. It has one of the largest sets of water defences in Britain. It's also reckoned to be the second largest castle by area in Britain, only exceeded by Windsor Castle. The building was built middle 1200s. I'm going to go quickly to the map at the back, thoughtfully provided by CADW. And here you can see we have a large outer wet moat here, a large inner wet moat there. But most of the material built in, shown in green, is from the original development phase of the castle, provisionally dated 1268 to 1270s. De Clare then continued building later, added various sections on, and the building survived mostly intact until the Victorian period. Unfortunately, by the Victorian period it was in need of extensive restoration, and the material appearing in blue here, around here, and the back tower and the front gatehouse there are in fact Victorian restorations by the Bute family. Nevertheless, it has survived largely intact, and I'd never visited it before. It's one that's been on my to-do list most of my life, and I'm hoping you'll enjoy this film. So, Caerphilly Castle, South Wales, see what you think of it. Right, here we are at Caerphilly in South Wales. This is Warspite the Wargamer, hitting Caerphilly Castle, somewhere I've wanted to come for the last 40 odd years. And it's going to be a voyage of discovery. It's not a site I've been to before. Caerphilly Castle, South Wales. In front of us is the Great Dam Wall and the lower outer moat. Very thoughtfully, CADW have provided a model in front of us for the visually impaired. This allows people to actually touch the model and see in their mind what the castle looks like. We're located roughly here. There's the dam wall, there's the lower or outer moat, first gateway in here, and then you've got the main part of the castle. The Brattices and hoardings, which we shall see later, are located here, and then there's a final island on that side and a series of bridges linking to the mainland. Right, this is Caerphilly in South Wales. We're not far from Cardiff, the capital of Wales, and we're on the dam that separates the two moats. This is the upper moat, and ahead of us is the inner ward or inner bailey, and the nearest tower to us is the famous Leaning Tower. It allegedly leans further over than the Tower of Pisa. Now if I keep rotating, you can see a wooden tower there which contains a ballista bolt thrower. You then see the gatehouse between the inner and outer wards, and behind us here we have a reproduction trebuchet stone thrower there. Right, it's a ballista dart thrower on the dam wall at Caerphilly Castle. This is a Roman style torsions there and there. The bow is pulled back using a windlass mechanism there, and there is a nut which is visible just about there which catches the rope, and then when it's fired the dart goes whizzing off in that direction. This is on the dam wall between where it's effectively the outer ward on this side of Caerphilly Castle in South Wales. Standing on the main bridge entering Caerphilly Castle, straight ahead of us is where the gateway used to be in the outer wall of the inner section. Beyond that is the great gatehouse into the inner wall, the heart of the castle of Caerphilly. Right, this is now inside where I just was filming before. Of importance here is beneath where my shadow is there and there, that is a drawbridge pit. Enormous space under here. The original drawbridge here operated like a seesaw and tipped back at a pivot point over there. And that hole there also became an obstacle to anyone who managed to smash through the upright drawbridge and would then find that deep hole behind it. And it's down there. Right, this is the main entrance at Caerphilly Castle into the inner ward. We're passing through it, and the first thing we observe on this side is the portcullis slot there. There's also an arrow loop just behind it. And if we look up above us to here, we have trebuchet, murder holes. These ones would allow firefighting water to be dropped down onto any attempts to set a fire here. But they also allowed noxious materials, particularly quicklime, to be dropped onto an attacker. And trust me, you don't want to be hit by a cloud of quicklime. Far more effective than red hot oil or red hot lead. Right, we just came in through there and saw the first portcullis and the first set of trebuchet, murder holes. We come to the back of the eastern gatehouse. We have a second portcullis, and going up, more trebuchet, more murder holes. They have a secondary firefighting function, but they also allow you to drop unpleasantness on anyone who's trying to come through. So this is the back end of the castle, back end of the east gate, coming through there. Coming inside the eastern gatehouse where we just were, these are 4 large stone balls, possibly fired during the 1326 siege, and almost certainly from a trebuchet. And that is your trebuchet. It is a machine uses a counterpoise weight to simulate the action of the human arm. The stone comes off that end, goes in a high trajectory, and is thrown forward by the action of this heavy weight swinging downwards. And once you release one of these babies, there's no stopping it. So that's the weapon. And these are 4 rounds that were found in various parts of the castle during excavation. Right, we're right inside Caerphilly Castle, and as a rarity, Caerphilly is one of the few castles that still has its great hall in place. You've got the music playing in the background, courtesy of CADW, which look after the building. We've got some lighting here. This would be a place of feasting and merriment. It would also function as a manorial court, so the local landlord or ruling lord would fine tenants or collect his rents here as well. There's the great windows, scanning up again towards the ceiling, and there's this wonderful timber ceiling coming back into view. And with the music playing in the background, you really get the idea of what this might have looked like 1320, 1340, 1360. You will notice the walls look quite plain and austere, but in use there would probably have been tapestries, wall hangings, probably a timber wainscoting somewhat similar to this. Sorry, and generally it'd be a warm, homely, comfortable bit of furniture around the side, rush mat on the floor, etc. A big beaming fireplace over there. So don't think of this as an extremely unpleasant place. Think of it as a place of power and prestige befitting the lord of the castle, or the castellan, or the king. Caerphilly Castle is substantially complete, but if we pan around here, that's the east gate. Pan along the wall here, across here, we have the leaning tower. Now, according to the locals, this tower actually leans out further than the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's managed to remain sort of upright, but as you can see, it has parted from the wall on this side. There's a big chunk fallen off here, and they're obviously worried about customer safety on this side, because that one's been netted off to prevent lumps of rock landing on the entrance to the toilets downstairs. Coming inside this end of the gatehouse, we have spiral stairs spiraling off down there. Bit of a so-and-so if you have difficulties walking, which I do. But coming across to here, we have the greatest joy any medieval person would want, an actual toilet. This is a single-seater, and it shoots straight down and outside onto the ground. At some stage or another, some poor soul would have to come along and sweep that up. So, toilet seat there, and it's also defensible, so you've got a crossbow, or possibly even a longbow loop here. Now, on the upper level of the east gatehouse, there's a bit of tapestry that's been put in place, that's modern. Extending down here, you've got staircases in each corner, linking the upper and lower levels. Windows out into the courtyard where the Great Hall is. But of particular interest is this fabulous fireplace. Some indication this gatehouse was used as a luxury accommodation, possibly for the castellan. But of particular interest is this fireplace. I've seen this at other places. They couldn't find one decent bit of stone, so what they've done is they've beautifully mortised separate stones together like Lego. There is a word for it, but neither of us can remember it at the moment. But this mortising continued right across the fireplace, one side to the other, and effectively locks a load of individual stones together to produce a load-bearing beam, which then supports the fireplace going upwards towards the roof. So this is inside the main gatehouse, and somewhere around here will be access to those murder holes, the materiae, which we saw earlier on, and that points out to the town. Right, that's the Great Hall. This is the gatehouse, which has the garderobe in it and the wonderful fireplace. And then this is where we've lost yet another tower. The entire tower here has dropped away. There's remains of it lying down there. It may have actually smashed through the wall on the far side, which you can just see there's a breach in that as well. And then looking back in this direction, you've got the town of Caerphilly over there, and you've got the gatehouse where we came in, and down there, just behind that piece of wall, that's where the deep drawbridge pit is. Now up here on this side of the wall, we have typical crenellation, that's the up and down bits, got an embrasure there for shooting out. But further along, they've recreated another element of this castle, namely brattices or hoardings. These are timber structures that can fit out over the wall and then allow obstacles to be dropped on anyone at the foot of the wall. And we're going to see that more closely in just a second. Over on this side we have the other gatehouse facing in the opposite direction. We're still in the wall walk, and now we're in the area of the brattices or hoarding. And the access to the brattices or hoarding is through here, and we're now going to go through. We're now effectively climbing through the castle wall, and we're out into a timber structure above the foot of the wall. They haven't done it here, but there would normally be holes in the floor to allow objects to be dropped on people below. And also you have a firing loop here which points straight outside the castle. Following the helpful arrow, we proceed this way along this section of recreated brattice and hoarding. We see what would normally be the outside of the castle wall here. There's a loop. That's an attacker's view of one of the loops. And then coming to here, I'm hoping this is going to work, we have got a crossbowman. He's wearing a livery of yellow and red, and you can just see beyond him that they have actually knocked a hole into the ground, into the floor there, and they're about to drop an object on somebody who's attacking the base of the wall. Right, we're in the northwest tower, window out there, gorgeous fireplace again with this wonderful type of stonework, which I think might be called joggling, but I'll check that later. And again, Lego style construction means small pieces of stone can be turned into one big one. And on this side, got a gorgeous window looking out across the wall where the brattices or hoardings were, and you've got a flight of steps going up, which I'm now going to attempt and hopefully not go head over heels. And here we are, up here, and there are the brattices or hoardings that we were just in there. Right, this is the northwest tower at Caerphilly in a ward. Moving along here, we first of all have, in this area, we have the outlet for a garderobe toilet there, and then next door to it, that is a sally port, which will allow troops to sally through there quickly to fight anyone in this area. Immediately above, up there is the brattices or hoardings, which we were in just now. And here you can see the principles of concentric defence. There's a low outer wall here, and you always keep it low so that should anyone get over, up here on the inner wall, you can fire down upon them. This is a classic example of the principles of concentric defence, and this may have been built possibly before the Edward I castles in North Wales, which carry those principles further forward. So this is north side of Caerphilly Castle, brattices and hoarding above, and low outer wall there. Right, this is the west end of the castle. You can see a present pedestrian footbridge has been put in, but underneath the foundations there have got quite a bit of depth to them. Possible another drawbridge pit may have been incorporated. And over here we have what is effectively a fortified island, which would have had very tall walls, but they've probably been lost. And over in the far distance you can see another bridge there. Again, there would have been a gatehouse, and that's effectively the back door of the castle on this side. So, and there's the moat. I hope you enjoyed my personal walking tour of Caerphilly Castle in South Wales. In addition to looking at these castle sites and an abbey, We also visited the battlefield of Mortimer's Cross. Mortimer's Cross is a Wars of the Roses battle, which is somewhat controversial considering we had to hunt the thimble to find the battlefield, but I will be producing in due course my interpretation of what happened. Meantime, that was Wales. If you ever get a chance to visit this country, the South Wales area, across the entire area from Severn all the way through to Pembroke, is an area of considerable historical interest. Numerous castles. We didn't even touch Pembrokeshire, Pembroke Castle, etc. So if you get a chance to come out this way, I thoroughly recommend it.